My name is Walter Morello, the real estate mentor. We're going to talk about a wealth principle that has been, I think, misunderstood. Wealth principle 5, build a business. And Dr. Terry Wader has been pounding on this for years, but it's misunderstood by a lot of real estate investors. They believe that they can just buy a bunch of rental property and it's going to cash flow for them and they can retire and be done. Hence, Karen, if you believe if you buy enough rental property, you can retire tomorrow. Yes. I mean, it would be nice. But the truth is, rental property cash flows anywhere between $100 to $200 per door, which means in order to get that passive income of $10,000 a month, hence, Karen, if you want $10,000 a month passive to start, it's a good beginning place, good place to start. Absolutely. If it was passive, by the way, that takes 50 doors, well, 50 to 100 doors, depending on how much you're cash flowing. Now, the amount of capital stack to get there is possible to do in one deal. It is possible to raise that and not have to put any of your own money in. We know that we've talked a lot of these strategies and names on deeds, right? Hence the camera, if you've taken names on deeds, if you've been involved in the course, you at least got the free workbook. Excellent. So you're already aware of how to do it. And a lot of times we just don't do it. We just don't take the right actions. Hence the camera, if you're susceptible to not taking the right actions now and then. Excellent. So that's what the 52 weeks to wealth are all about. Every week we come back, we digest one of these wealth principles, we implement it again in our business so we can double our income, double our net worth. That is the goal for each one of you. That's the journey I've traveled the last 8 years. Now, fortunately, I started with a $17,000 income, so it wasn't too hard. In that first year, I 5 times it. So like I did go a little bit extreme in the first year. I have not since 5 times my income. Hence the care if that's okay too. It's okay if all you do is double. But know that if your income is under 100,000, you may exceed multiples. You may get into those multiples in your first year. So the 52 weeks of wealth are a journey. We walk through them. We go through them together every week. And at the end of that journey, we start over again. It's just like getting the black belt. Once you go to black, you got to go back to white and start over as a novice. Teach, train, learn from a different experience. Because once you've made that first 100,000, this is called wealth stacking. Once you made the first 100,000, you're going to want to go after $250,000. Once you've made $250,000, you're going to want to level up to $500,000. Once you've made that $500,000, you're going to want to level up to $1 million. Hence the camp, you know, there's never enough, but you have to keep doing more. That's what's inside of us. We're meant to make more money. We're meant to be more abundant. We're meant to find purpose. We're meant to go out and give. That's what the 100 Millionaires inspired to build 100 Millionaires is all about. Once you've gotten yours, it's time to go and give back and teach others so that they can get theirs. Even if you just start with your kids, you start with your family, you start with your spouse. Hence, camp, if you believe you should start at home. It's a good place to get some exercise, practice. Absolutely. So today's wealth principle, build a business. I want to talk about the 4 reasons that business makes sense. First, if you want to invest in crypto, we were just talking about that. Who knows crypto's hot? Everybody's investing in crypto. It's either hot or it's not. And it was up and down. And you either know the right coin or you don't. And you can make a lot of money or you can lose a lot of money. Who's seen everything in between? You've seen all those variables. Yes. Crypto only works if you have enough money to invest in. Crypto only works if there's enough to invest in the asset class itself. If you have $1,000 and you invest it into a token that goes up 10 times, all you have is $10,000. Now, if you're in certain countries, that might last you a year to 5 years if you're living on almost nothing, right? But it doesn't retire you. So if you're looking to retire, if you want that $10,000 passive income, you're going to have to start with something bigger. Now, my suggestion is we don't invest in stocks or crypto until you've got $100,000. Hence, Karen, if that makes sense. Those are heavy asset classes. It takes time and money to go and invest in them properly. Now, you could reasonably invest $10,000 and over 10 years, maybe you would get a great return. Or you could invest $10,000 and if you invested in the right token or the right business and it went up 10 times, there would be $100,000 in a year or two. And Karen, if we understand that math does exist, yes. But that first $10,000 would be much better served in a business that you would control whether it makes money or not, that you would decide whether its income is increasing or not increasing, whether its value is increasing or not increasing. Now, we also talk about real estate. Real estate is a business. By the way, I was asked yesterday, I was on a podcast with a friend of mine, and he said, you know, what is your experience selling businesses? And I was like, dude, I sell a few of them a year because every property I buy is a business. It's got management, it's got employees, it's got clients, customers. and it's got an asset attached to it. It's got the business. The business is the building itself. It's got assets. Every time you buy a rental property, it is an asset. It is a business that you're acquiring. Every time you sell the rental property, you increase the value of it, usually through what we call forced depreciation, right? Which is repairing, raising rents, getting the business more profitable, decreasing expenses, getting your NOI up, net operating income. That's an increase of value for the business. Hands can if we agree. This is the goal. We want to do this more often. We want to do this on bigger deals. We want to acquire bigger businesses and do this more often. Businesses with opportunities. Now, a business is something that we can buy or build. Real estate, you can also build, but it's capital intensive to build real estate. Hands to the camera if you know that's true. Developing a piece of real estate is very capital intensive. Developing a business is not. It is time intensive. It is time intensive. They both require skills. They both require very similar skills. They both require management skills. They self-management, other people management, leadership. They require the ability to raise capital, and they require the ability to sell. They also require the ability to market. So there are similar skills in a business and in real estate investing that are required. But if you only have $10,000, my first investment is going to be in you. It's going to be in your education. It's going to be in your network. It's going to be in your ability to build a business, whether it's licensing, getting the tools, or hiring that first employee. Because by the way, to hire an employee, depending on where you're hiring them, it may only cost you $500 a month, $400 to $500 a month if you're hiring out of the country. Does this make sense? So in fact, I know Jen has multiple people who work for her. Dorina has multiple people who work for her that we're paying the salary of a normal American person. And the people that work for us work 10 times harder or 10 times smart. Maybe not 10 times smarter, but they're a lot smarter. They're a lot more ambitious than the people that we find who are willing to work in America. So there's a lot of opportunity in the business side for very little capital startup. Now, you don't hire somebody until you made some money. Hence, can't we agree? I just walked you through a process. We eliminated stocks. We eliminated crypto, unless you have over $100,000, in which case, yes, you got great liquidity, drop that into one of those asset classes. Take a course, by the way, again, self-development. Take a course and learn how to invest properly. You can talk to Mitch Jorsky. He's a phenomenal trader. He traded for years on the stock market. He's a phenomenal investor. You can talk to Michael Shine. These are both people I trust who have high net worth in liquid assets like crypto and stocks. And Scam, if you know how to get in touch with both coaches, you know how to get in touch with these guys. Awesome. If you don't, you can go to alchemistnation.com, go to the mentorship course, go all the way down to the coaches, the specialists, and each one of them is listed on the platform. I'm muting you, George. I love you though, brother. So this process of building wealth starts at build a business. We build businesses, we buy real estate, and then we invest in liquid assets. That is your retirement plan. You may invest in notes. Me and Ron talk about it all the time. Like as we liquidate some of our portfolio, we're investing in people's businesses, investing in people's real estate deals. And that's where Alchemist Financial came in, is lending money to people to go and do real estate deals. It's passive. It makes a lot of sense for us. And Frank does all the work. Let's give Frank Montero a round of applause. If you go to alchemistnation.com and you go to loans and mortgages, Frank is the one who runs Alchemist Financial. And he's just phenomenal. He's figured out a whole bunch of different products for everybody. Now, building a business, it doesn't take money, but it does take intention. It does require focus, laser focus. I was talking to a billionaire the other day, and I was talking to a multimillionaire last night, and he both agree, and every one of the coaches will agree. When you focus on one thing, you have to say no to everything else automatically. It's no longer pressure. It's no longer difficult. When you're focused on one task, then let me give you an example, because I like examples. Hence, care if you know I do examples every week so we can relate this to our worlds. Excellent. Who has a significant other? Who has ever had a significant other? We'll put it out there. Who would like a significant other? So just imagine you and your partner, your spouse, the person you love, you've committed yourself to, are sitting there, and one of you decides one day that you no longer want to be with that person, and they no longer want to be with you, and they just leave and they go off somewhere else. Would your life change in a dramatic way? Hands to camera if that would be true. If your life would change in a dramatic way. Excellent. Communication is important. So make sure if you think you're listening, listen. So keep the communication going with your spouse. In business, it's the same thing. It's like your spouse, it's like your kids, right? You want to raise your kids really well. You pay attention to them. You focus on them. You put them in the right situation so that they'll grow in the direction that is best suited for them, not for you. The business does not always have to be what you want it to be. The business has to be what's best for the business, what's best for the clients, what's best for your customers. Customer service, building the business so it's profitable. If the business is not profitable, it dies. Right? If you don't feed your kids, they die. We're getting this, right? With very realistic. Like if you left them out there for 30 days, no water, no food, as resourceful and entrepreneurial as your kids may be because you've trained them well, 30 days would be a long time for the body not to sustain food. Well, the business is the same way. If you don't bring business in for 30 days, the business is suffering. It's choking. It's like it needs to breathe, right? It's missing food, it's missing water. So your business must be profitable. Serve the business, feed the business, give it the money that it requires to exceed, to expand, to get to the next level. Every successful entrepreneur that I've ever met who's crushing it in real estate, by the way, hands camera if you want to crush it in real estate. You want to own a lot of real estate, like tons of real estate, all the houses. You said at one point, I want to own all the houses in my city. All right, you're a lot like me. I said the same thing when I first got into the game. I said, I'm going to own it all. And I knew it. I just knew it. And that feeling only happens, well, the result of it only occurs to the people who have a massive stream of income. It requires a massive stream of income to be able to outbuy other people, to be able to finance faster than other people. Cash is king in real estate. If you have to go to the banks, you got to wait 30, 45 days. Somebody like me is going to get the deal. Does that make sense? We're getting it. It's not competitive. It's just nature, right? If one tree is growing up, then think of your business like a tree. If one tree is growing up and another tree is above it, or there's a rock or some sort of obstacle around it, the tree now has to go around and is hindered by the other obstacle. Imagine it's another tree that's a little bigger. That tree that is bigger and is taller, faster, will always do better than the tree that is missing the sunlight. Sunlight is a lot like money. You need those rays shining down on you. We got to bring the rain in, right? The tree that's getting less water, the tree that's getting less rain. There's a lot of opportunities in a business. There's a lot of things that keep it alive. And a business is the key to building wealth. You must build a business. Taxes, benefits of a business, tax advantages. Business, everything you spend in the business, you don't have to pay for. The government wants you to own businesses. Same with real estate. Everything you spend in your rental properties, fixing them, repairing them, you don't have to pay taxes for. We understand the government wants you to own real estate and businesses. Yes. People say all the time, oh, well, the rich don't have to pay taxes. That's because the rich are doing what the government wants. You know why the poor have to pay taxes? Because they're taking the money out of the system. They're taking it away from the game. We're providing houses. We're providing jobs. That's why the government pays us, incentivizes us. The system is not rigged to benefit the rich. The system is rigged to incentivize those who are ambitious enough to serve others. Those of you who are ambitious enough to go out and ask people what they want, to go out and serve, to be that person who's willing to create something that never existed, to repair something to a level that was never that nice, to provide clean, safe, affordable housing to people who are just looking for a place to raise their kids, to provide jobs to people who are just looking for an opportunity to be them, to express themselves, to serve, to do something cool and interesting. Hands to camera if you understand, you're important as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as somebody who's investing. And so the government incentivizes you. Let's give the government a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. All those tax benefits that we receive from the government. And when your friends who are broke complain about making more money, I don't want to make more money because then I'd have to pay more taxes. Not if you do it right. Not if you build a business and invest in real estate. Not if you roll your ass to continue to expand them. We only pay taxes. By the way, tax is a penalty for the poor. We only pay taxes when we take the money out. They never, ever charge us when we keep the money in. Does that make sense? Again, they don't charge us for taking loans. The government, in fact, incentivizes us to take loans. We're getting this. Yes? Excellent. Very cool. So build a business to profit, right? Every Thursday, Dr. Terry Wager does his training, talks about how to build a business, how to improve the business. Today in Wealth Principle 5, I just want to convince you that you require a business. That is my one thing. My one thing for this wealth principle is commit to your business. If you were committed to the business before, right, we've gone through wealth principle 1, think a million, wealth principle 2, choose a business that can make $1 million. Hands to camera if you were here for the first 2 weeks, wealth principles of the year. Excellent. We talked about cash flow, profit, income, and flow. We talked about the equity. We talked about the 4 types of money in a business. And what did we talk about last week? Who remembers? Wealth principle 4, put all your eggs in one basket and guard that basket. Thank you, Dr. Terry. Put all your eggs in one basket and guard that basket. That basket, if you have under $100,000 net worth or liquid cash, is your business. You've got to put everything, all of it. Your family has to be on board with your business, right? Your kids have to be on board with your business. Your spouse has to be on board with your business. Your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, your relatives, your best friends need to be on board with your business. Otherwise, they're going to take you away from the business. Otherwise, they're going to steal food from your family. They're going to steal food from your household. They're going to steal the ability for you to be able to serve your family, your friends, your community on a level that you want to serve them. Does that make sense? And you have to understand this. There will be people who will see you having free time because you quit your job and say, oh, well, you got time. Can you come over and do this for me? Oh, you got time. Can you take me to the airport? Oh, you got time. Can you watch the cat for me? And you have to say no. I don't mind if I got to pay somebody else to do that at your house, but at my house, I've got to build my business right now because I have kids. Maybe they're not here yet, but you have kids that are here that you're serving. You've got a spouse that deserves better. Who agrees their spouse deserves better? Your spouse deserves the world, right? Your spouse deserves everything. I don't care if you're a man or a woman, your spouse deserves absolutely everything that you can create for them, everything that they desire. You, every single day, spend every minute of your life making sure your children and your spouse have the entire world. Hands camera if you commit to that, if you can commit to that, if you can get behind that idea. Absolutely. So it's your moral, ethical duty then as a human being to say no to the people who would steal food, steal opportunity, steal the dream that you have for your family. Unethical. And if it's your spouse, that's a communication issue on your side. You just clearly haven't had the conversation and told them, I want to give you everything. Look, I'm going to give you all the stuff. Let's get on board with this. Hence, if you know, you can have that conversation a little better. Like there's always opportunity to improve that one. Yes, I'm constantly improving with Doreen. I'm like, $1 billion company, babe. We can do whatever we want. You can have all the horses. You can free all the horses. You can free all the chickens and the cows. She's like, okay, all right. Can we buy 300 acres worth of land in North Carolina? I was like, yes, absolutely. Let's go free the world first. Can we go free all the people who are financially bound to their 9-to-5s and want to get out of their jobs? Hence, Karen, if that's a cool mission too, we'll free the people first before we free the animals. Like Doreen, it's just a step. It's an order. It's wealth stacking, right? We got to do this first. The animals don't pay. They don't pay. So first we got to free the people so we can go free the animals. There is a reason for your business. It has to. Otherwise, the business wouldn't exist. There's a law, a universal law. The universe removes that which does not add value. Write this down. This is a very important principle for building a business. The universe removes that which does not add value. If your business is not valuable, it will be crushed. It will be removed. If there's no need for it, it will be destroyed. That's why in real estate, I always seek out the problems. When we started Alchemist Nation, we looked at what is the biggest problem in the world. Me and my business partner spent the last 3 years deciding what is, researching and finding it out. We said, it's education, it's ignorance. Why do people fight? Ignorance. Why are there wars? Ignorance. What's going on in Russia and Ukraine right now? Ignorance, right? Competition. These are problems. Alchemist Nation is about abundance, creativity. We don't look at competition, we create. We don't seek ignorance. We don't seek to ignore other people's feelings. We seek truth. We seek understanding. This is what alchemy is all about. Hence, Karen, if you recognize it works. It works. You've seen it work already in your life, in your experience, in your business. Absolutely. So we said the only solution is an edutainment company, right? It's got to be entertaining. It's got to be empowering. It's got to be educational. And it's got to work. People have to be able to go and implement the things that they're learning. They have to have that hands-on touch. That's where the mentorship was formed. It was something that was missing in the world of education, training. We build businesses in the mentorship, whether they're real estate, or an alternative business? Hands camera if you've seen that to be true. Every one of you, hands camera if you've been in the mentorship. If you're a part of it, been in it, awesome. Give yourselves a round of applause. Love having you guys. You're alchemists. Every one of you is creating gold, is creating opportunities for the people that you're communicating with, creating opportunities for your clients, for your family, for your employees, for the people in your business. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge sometimes to keep the vision, to remember to say no to things. But this is the most important thing, that if you're going to build a business, you got to choose the business and you got to commit to it, just like you would your spouse, just like you made that commitment the day you held your child, right? You made a decision. You said, I will do whatever it takes to give you the life you deserve. As a camp, you've made that commitment, or you could understand what that commitment would be like. Nieces, nephews, family members, cousins. You've held a baby before. Even if it wasn't yours, I bet you felt that feeling. Hands camera if you've held somebody else's child that felt the same thing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Your business has to have that same level of commitment, no matter how small it is. Even if it's born a little too early, even if the business is premature, you have to still commit to the business. Keep it alive. You got to put a little more effort if the business is premature to your skills. That makes sense. If the business is premature to you being in the position, then you have to work a little harder to keep it alive. This is your dream. This is your baby. Who's heard millionaires, multimillionaires, billionaires refer to their businesses as their baby, as their child? Absolutely. That's why they're successful. Every business I've ever touched, I thought of as a child. I thought as, and I asked Arena when we talk about the business, I'm like, it's so young. It's just learning how to walk. It hasn't quite gotten its ability to go and do things on its own, but it's there. It's thinking. It's receiving information. Hands camera, if you know the first year of your business really is just receiving information. It's gathering information. It's figuring out what doesn't work. It's figuring out what doesn't work. It's figuring out what doesn't work. What you do like about the business, what does work, and identifying how to read the business, how to figure it out, how to understand what's going on. There's a lot of steps to building a business. I'm not going to lie. I will not. Well, that's bad NLP. Let me just say this. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of understanding. It's a lot of mental work. There's a lot of education when it comes to building a business, because most of the things that you were taught are not true. The most dangerous stuff is not what you know. It's what you think you know that is just not so. We said this at the summit, the 100 Millionaire Summit. This was something that we mentioned quite a bit. Business is counterintuitive. In business, you cheat. You're supposed to cheat. You're supposed to take the shortcuts. You're supposed to copy other people's work. If somebody else did it and it worked well, do it again. Rinse and repeat. In school, they taught you not to copy, not to cheat. Does that make sense? We agree? But successful people follow successful people. Successful people do what successful people do. They do what they have done. They follow that path. They ask successful people, how'd you get there? In school, we're told, don't ask other people for the answers. Don't ask the teacher for the answer when you're taking a test. Every day you're in a business is a test. Every phone call you're on is a test. Did you make money or not? Are you able to feed the business today? That's how you score. That's how you know. Did you take ground? Did you build an asset? Did you put something that's going to save you time or money in the future? Or did you build something that's going to make you back time or money in the future? And this is camera. If this is a fun wealth principle 5, man, I could teach this one all year and still not touch all of it, which is why Alchemist Nation, we're focusing on bringing in teachers, trainers who will talk about business, sales, marketing, the actual structures of business, how they work, the education, how to train your staff, how to get your staff to go and do the things that make a business successful, and how to build and work off of affiliate marketing, because affiliate marketing is the future. Selling other people's stuff. OPS. Who's heard of OPM, other people's money? That's the past. OPM is the past. I want you to get your money by selling other people's stuff, other people's services, other people's time. Sell what other people are willing to give away. Sell what other people want to give to people. Find somebody with a surplus and sell it to somebody else who has a lack. Does that make sense? That's business. Business 101. Find somebody with too much, buy it for cheap. Sell it to somebody with too little, sell it for more. People are willing to pay for things that they don't currently have and things that they want. They don't necessarily pay for what they need. That's a topic me and the other coaches talk about all the time. People don't necessarily pay for what they need, they pay for what they want. So I sell real estate education, but I give you how to become a millionaire. Does that make sense? That's why we're talking about building a business today. I know Michael Shine is driving, so probably doesn't make sense to ask you to do the book of the week. Mike, are you available to do the book of the week?
I am available to do the book of the week. I'm playing Ryan McDermott today, taking my son and his friend to a soccer game. So there you go. But this book,
Nice.
I couldn't ignore this book. This is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Probably everybody's already read it, and if you haven't, go get it now, today. It's the real OG. It is the original book. Teaches you the difference between assets and liabilities. Teaches you that your single family home that somebody told you will be your greatest asset is actually a liability. It's the one that for me personally started everything. It's an amazing book, and obviously Robert Kiyosaki focuses on building a business first. That's the most important part. So it fits really well with this theme. Get a business, focus on that business, create assets, and then go get other assets once that's been created. So Rich Dad Poor Dad, it's one of the foundational 5. If you haven't read it, you have to read it. It's required reading. So that's what I got from the road. Peace.
Let's give Michael Shine, the keeper of the books, a round of applause. Thank you, Mike. Mike is a holistic attorney. He has read Rich Dad Poor Dad multiple times. He's read most of the books in that series, including How to Retire Young and Retire Rich, which is a book all about leverage. And in that book, multiple times, Robert Kiyosaki says, build a business, buy real estate. He says, you know what I'll be doing 10 years from now? I'll be building businesses and buying real estate. And, ask me what I'll be doing 10 years from then. I'll be building businesses and buying real estate. And if you ask me what builds wealth 20 years, 50 years into the future, it will be building businesses and buying real estate. That's what builds wealth. Stocks and crypto diversify wealth. They are great passive instruments for people who have wealth to diversify and protect. Does that make sense? They are very passive instruments. You don't have to touch them. You don't have to do anything with stocks or crypto, but you do have to do one thing, and that's put cash in. You got to have some of this to get into those asset classes. Now, crypto is a business as well, and that's a whole other topic for another day. But if you're developing on a Web3 platform, you're actually building a business. Same with stocks. If you take a company public, you build your business big enough, you can sell your business to other people, put it on the stock market. That's how big businesses sell their assets. Does that make sense? And that's what crypto tokens actually are, is they're just a sale. It's a digital sale of a business. They're not really a currency. They're actually a model of something, a business of some sort that has utility that is sold. So build a business, focus on your business, stay in the game long enough for your business to survive and get to the point where you can sell it. By the way, Wealth Principle 33, we're getting there, is build your business to sell your business and get rich. Hence, if you were here for last year for Wealth Principle 33, it's coming back around again because people forget. It's very easy to forget that one. Wealth Principle 5, build your business. Any questions on building your business? All right, we're going to stop this recording. And coaches, we're going to do things a little differently this week. I was talking to Dorina, and we were talking about, like, how do we make this more engaging for everybody? And I think that it makes the most sense right after the call to go straight into questions. And guys and gals, we're going to stop questions at 10:45. So I want this to be rapid fire. Fill up the chat and unmute your mics and let's bang it out. And Stephanie, I saw you first. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Hey, so I have a question. So you know how I recently moved to Miami and stuff? I ended up renting a suite for hair. So like now I am renting out the stations in the suite. So I'm like doing everything that I've been doing for like the past 10 years, but I'm like changing my strategy, and I'm like trying to keep like the job that I currently have right now and keep building my clientele there. And then just like rent out the suites, like the stations in the suite. So like my question is, I guess, like, what would you, since you're really good at strategizing, what would you suggest, like the best way to do this is like?
So you're looking to fill up your suite with how many stylists?
So I have a 110 square suite, and I am putting 2 stations, so it's like very small.
Yeah.
But like the suite, I'm able to use it like any time of the day, night, whenever I want. So I'm thinking of doing 2 stylists per station, and I'm actually just doing like part-time instead of renting them full-time. And I don't know, like maybe we could go over the math too. I don't know, that's too much info, that takes too long. But
As long as you're profitable, find out what the average rent for a station is. Make sure that you have quality stations set up. And then by doubling up on your stations, you're going to be able to make more profit than if you just had one person on a station. Like nobody's going to be in there 12 hours a day. So most stylists work about 6 hours a day. And you may even be able to get a third stylist in who works on Mondays or Tuesdays where the other stylists aren't looking to work. So you may be able to triple rent those booths out.
Well, I have one person, a facial lady that wants to rent, but like, cause I told her, I was like, I only have part-time, so like morning shift or afternoon shift. But she's like, no, I want like Thursday through Saturday shift and like all day. So then I'm like, all right, should I rent it for the same price?
Yes.
Is that a part-time, like as a part-time, and then just rent? Okay.
Yeah, rent for the same price. That way you're hitting your goal, because as soon as she takes Thursday and Friday, she's wasted that whole spot. That's when every stylist wants to work. Your money is on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that's a slot.
So one of the things that I'll say is this is the same strategy that Walter talked about with you and I talked about with you when you had your place in California. But one of the things that I would think about is high traffic times, the times that you're going to have business, or they're going to have business. You can have different times that they're renting for. So like the high traffic times, you rent for just a little bit more. Also, when you really kind of get an idea of who's interested, then you can put that together. You might be trying to figure this out a little bit more, a little bit too early, and you want to figure out who wants chairs first. And go talk to every person that's doing hair, nails, or not nails, but hair, face, coloring, cutting, all of that before you start putting that together. And even ask them what they'd be willing to pay or what they're paying right now for chairs.
Okay. Well, I'm renting a booth myself right now, and I'm paying $200 a week. So then I'm like, all right, like trying to see like how I could make it like a better way, like for people to want to rent from me and stuff. But then it's like, all right, I don't want to rent it too cheap either,
Yep.
And Stephanie, do they, is it still Mondays not open?
No, over here it's like, I think, a lot of salons are Sunday and Monday closed, but usually there are some places that are open.
Well, and so my point there is that would also help separate you because I never understood why Mondays the salons were closed. It's like, well, what if I want to get my hair done? Like, why am I? That's arbitrary. So that might help you stand out a little bit by offering a day that most people don't do. Now, I don't know how like busy that might be because it's so indoctrinated into people to go, oh, well, I'm not going to go on Mondays because they're closed. But again, just something, food for thought.
People will show up when you tell them they're available. That's how the schedule works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, there's a salon suite, so it's no walk-in base. It's just a suite, stations, and people have their clientele and they go and they rent. So it's a little bit different. Like the salon in Cali is all a lot of walk-in.
So Stephanie, I'm gonna suggest going on to Alchemist Nation and drop this question and all your objections into the main forum and allow the coaches to jump in and offer some suggestions. That because I can see this being a very long coaching session. I want to make sure there's room for everybody else. So drop your questions in Alchemist Nation right in the main post and let the coaches and the mentors jump in and serve you there. I can tell. I know each one of us wants to tackle this. So, what else? Questions or ahas from today's Wealth Principle 5, Build a Business? Or questions about your personal business? By the way, give Stephanie a round of applause. Never easy being first. Jump in. Those who ask questions get results. Those who do not ask questions suffer. Suffer lack and ignorance, which is the devil. Go ahead, Annie.
Hi. So how do you feel about investing out of state, like buying 5, even 3 units and up? But I'm just saying like a commercial property out of state, because there's a lot of fast growing states that look really appealing, better price points, but your business is out of reach. You know what I mean?
Drew Martin.
I already unmuted myself. I mean, that's what I do for a living. I live in South Florida. I buy property in the Carolinas, manage property in the Carolinas. I mean, yeah, I mean, people automatically are like, well, I can't touch it. I can't feel it. So I'm scared of it. But it doesn't change anything. It's just in a different area than you are, is all it really comes down to. You know, I mean, I go there when I need to go there. But to be quite honest with you, I haven't been up there in 2022. So, I mean, and I don't want to go there if I don't have to whatsoever. But I mean, do you need to touch and feel, your assets? I mean, sure, on some cases, but I do deals quite often where I never even, other than pictures, I never see the property, and I don't touch it or feel it at all, basically. But really, I mean, you find a market that you want to work in, and then, you'll find your team, you'll find the people you can trust to work with. But I mean, even that, contractors will always come and go is the bottom line. But, you do that. And then, management, you can use a management company to be able to manage those properties. And then additionally, I mean, there's so many resources or so many systems that can be set up online nowadays that can handle so many of the things that you would think you need to do yourself. To kind of systematize it and not, and not have to worry about those things.
Hey, was
So
that
how
helpful?
Yeah, very extremely helpful. One more question. How did you figure out that area in North Carolina? Like without going down there, how do you know that street's any good? Like, do you go down to the areas?
Well, so yeah, when we originally started in the Carolinas, when we originally decided to partner, we researched areas where we felt there was going to be a strong up and coming area. And so we kind of picked the market, and then from picking that market, we said, all right, we wanted to start in the Raleigh-Durham Triangle area. And we started there and then expanded throughout the state, and then went into South Carolina and then Georgia and Florida, basically. So it's just a matter of understanding, when you're first doing the research, you want to know that this is a market that you feel is going to increase and be a good market to be in. It certainly doesn't hurt to, get on a plane or, drive down there and drive around the area. But call up a realtor, and act like you're going to buy property in the area, whether you are or aren't, use them for their knowledge, and have them drive you around and show you what's good, what's not, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, they work for commissions. So they want to buy and sell. So, ultimately, if you're flipping property like we are, they can become a contact for you and a resource, so, but that being said, they're willing to, in a sense, work for free to be able to get your business. So take advantage of that,
I think one of the things that also you need to think about is, and how many people in here are beginning in the real estate arena, and so they think they need to go look at the property, and they think they need to put their hands on it, and they want to do the work because that's what it sounds like in their head. That's wonderful. Well, people like Drew Martin and people like Mitch Durfee and Gwalter, they've realized that that's not necessarily a good way to go. And even Mitch and Doug, they're looking at properties and then having realtors do the work. Mitch has his own business partner going and doing the work. He doesn't go and touch the properties at all unless there's a problem. Yep. The thing that I think everybody needs to realize is that real estate is really a hands-off kind of thing. We're working with a couple of people in a property that they have one person going in there and doing all kinds of stuff, and then the other people are trying to be passive the way they thought it was going to be, and it creates a real problem when you get in and start trying to do what other people can do. There's property managers, there's realtors, there's construction people. You hire these people to do that work while you go get more properties. And that's one of the biggest things that having out-of-state property can do for you is it keeps your hands out of it.
There's a big lesson there. Annie, was
Yeah.
that valuable?
Yeah, it's extremely valuable. Thank you.
Annie, I'm going to ask you.
One other quick thing too, when it comes to these properties, just something to keep in mind. We don't allocate a dime in resources other than the marketing on a property until it's actually under contract. So nobody's going to walk that property. Nobody's going to do anything with that property until we have control of that property, basically. So, and that's where one of the biggest things, I think, when people coming in to this business, they end up, they want to, they don't even know if they have a deal in their hands, and they're allocating 4 hours of their day to drive out to wherever it is to go see Mr. Smith about this house that they may want to sell, but really you don't even know. And they're going to waste a bunch of time going there, walking it, doing everything. We don't do any of that. We don't allocate any resources until the property is under contract.
Right.
Valuable?
Yes.
Awesome. Andy, do me a favor and go to Alchemist Nation, drop in a post and ask that question. Create a question and just say, hey, how do I invest out of state? What should I look for to build my team out of state? Because that's another question that I know me and the other coaches are going to have a blast filling answers on. We all have different strategies and ways of doing it. And we just actually closed our first flip that I never saw. So I live in Tampa now. We did a flip in Massachusetts. I never saw the building. I only saw pictures like Drew Martin's. Actually, Drew's the reason I even felt comfortable doing this project, because he kept saying like, dude, you don't need to see it. Like, you got partners out there. So thank you, Drew. Mark Dozo, I see you, brother. Dozwa. How do I pronounce your name?
Dozwa.
Dozwa.
So I have a question about getting a property from another wholesaler to wholesale it. What's your thoughts on that? I had somebody reach out to me. They say they have the property in the contract. They gave me the address, looked it up, to buy and hold. It's being rented. So what's your thought on taking that from a wholesaler to then again sell it?
If the numbers work, do it. Absolutely. I've bought, most of my property comes from wholesalers, either wholesalers or real estate agents. I look at them about the same. They both signed a contract, got the seller to agree to let them sell the house. And
so how does the closing happen? You have a double closing, or what's the process?
There's a lot of different ways to do it. You could do a double close, or you could just have it be a single close and let them know, hey, by the way, I assigned it to this guy, right? This is my partner. He's buying the house. So I just assigned the contract over to him. We're
Right.
partners, and this is how our partnership works. And that's very easy to do. Double close costs more money, takes more time. It could be a little more work. So,
All right. And what's your thought on so they made me sign a non-disclosure to give me the address. Is that normal?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Especially as you get deeper into real estate and dealing with more professionals, you'll end up signing a lot of NDAs, so that you don't go behind their back and sell the house to somebody else without cutting them out of the deal.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. And Mark, again,
Yes.
drop the question in Alchemist Nation. There's 450 members on Alchemist Nation. And we've only got 69 people on the call right now. So these questions create really valuable conversations in the platform.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Zach, you're up.
Hey,
Let's give Mark Dozois a round of applause. Go ahead, Zachary.
yeah, I was just so I've been doing a lot of lead gen, and I'm wondering what is, in your case, been the best way, or I'm sorry, like where have you seen the most success as far as like lead gen for, foreclosures and probate deals too?
Who wants to take this? Which one of the coaches wants to take this one?
So as
There
far
you
as
go. Drew Martin.
you're talking about, your question is, I'm sorry, I only caught half of that. I had trouble hearing you, but your question is, what kind of data are you looking for, or what kind of avenues are you going after?
Kind of what, in your experience, what has been the biggest factors in success for converting leads into deals?
Motivation is the bottom line. I mean, if the seller's not motivated to sell, then, then you're wasting your time. I mean, that's, it does, there's a number of different ways that they're coming from. I mean, most of my marketing that I do is it's all inbound online marketing, which it's not inexpensive. So, I mean, if you're not, at that level of, of being able to allocate those types of dollars to your marketing campaign, you can do this through, outbound stuff like text blasting and so on and so forth. But it's finding motivated sellers is really the bottom line, and digging out that pain point and understanding what's going on, to be able to do it.
Clear.
Yeah. What Drew is talking about is leads versus qualified buyers or sellers. And so too many people focus on getting as many leads as they can, and they're not having a way to qualify them. And so building your system to qualify leads is where you're going to save a lot of time and money.
Yep. Asking the right questions when you're on the phone with them.
And Zach, I'll go a step ahead, even deeper. If you go to alchemistnation.com, there are 3 courses that are designed around finding deals off market, around lead generation, around prospecting, and around negotiations with sellers. How to get them to say yes to the deal, how to identify somebody's motivation, how to find out if they're the right person to work with. Some of those, one of the courses is Get the Deal. The other course is Wholesaling Bootcamp. And the other course is Get the Money, or how to buy real estate off market. Those 3 courses, or Names on Deeds. In fact, Names on Deeds, I would throw that one in as well. And between the 4 of those courses, you will have all the tools and resources to find all the off market properties and negotiate them so that the seller says yes. Helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, if I could just also add, sorry, the question at first, I was a little confused as to, and Terry made the distinction, like, okay, are you just trying to gather a bunch of leads, or are you looking to, like, get those deals, which is very different, because some people just go out and they go, oh, like numbers. And to Drew's point, it's about the relationships. It's about figuring out what their needs are. My question is, are you looking in your area, or are you kind of blasting different areas?
Mostly focusing on my area I'm in Brookline, but basically surrounding Boston areas.
Awesome. So infiltrate the networks there and be known as the person who gets these deals done. So you become the trusted expert. So they come to you. Right. So then now it's like, oh, wow, I got to talk to Zach. I just, I was talking to someone, their parents just died, and, they don't know what to do with their property, and, you're going to help solve their problem. So find yourself in environments where you are, the guy to go to. You got to be the subject matter expert, and then you'll actually attract the properties as well. And then Drew said, talk to property managers, like just be the guy. Be like, hey, I know a guy, and then you become the person to go to.
Thank you. And Doug, with those glasses, you look like a Robert Downey Jr.
Without the glasses, he looks like Robert Downey Jr.
He looks like me.
That's true.
Him.
He does. I walked up to him the other day, and I was like, hey, Doug, and he got all mad at me.
Right?
Awesome question, Zachary. Thank you, bro. Let's give Zach a round of applause. Hands to the camera if this is valuable, if these questions are valuable, if you're getting good answers. Awesome. Excellent. We'll do one more before we take it off to the coaches. Ken Hoffman, I see your hand up.
Yeah, man. How's it going?
Good, brother. Good to see you.
Can you hear me? All right. So I got a question. So how do you know when it's time to sell a property, right? So I've got a really beautiful property that I love, and I think it's worth quite a bit more than I paid for it at this point, and I've successfully burned it, and I'm wrestling with this idea of, do I just cash out of this thing and move up in the world with some of the money? How do you know when it's time to do that?
Awesome. Ken, has anybody else ever asked this question or thought this question? And Ken, I'm just going to mute you because you're getting I'm getting feedback for some reason. Has anybody else, hands camera, if you thought, when do you know when it's time to sell? How do you know it's time to sell? I've sold a lot of property, right? I hold a lot of rental property, but I've sold a lot of rental property. And the rule of thumb for us has always been 5 years. If I can out earn 5 years of rental with the property, I'm going to sell it. If the equity in the deal after taxes, after I've paid everything off, the loans, the mortgages, the expenses on the property, I have more equity than 5 years worth of income, I'm going to sell the property. Because and I'm sure you understand this, you know how to invest that 5 years worth of income better in a bigger, better, higher cash flowing deal. Hence, camera, if that's true. If you could jump 5 years into the future, you should. If you if you can get back 5 extra years of waiting for that cash flow, then you should. As long as, and Ken, this is the one rule, there has to be an opportunity good enough for you to jump into. If you haven't lined something up that would give you a better return on investment than that current property, then don't sell the property. Sometimes cash is the better investment.
So to show that, like, this way, when you have cash flow, when you first get the property, as that cash flow dwindles but the equity increases, when it starts to get right around here, you want to start thinking about selling it. If you're like this and your cash flow is low but your equity is super high, then selling it makes more sense.
5 years, selling it 5 years. So let's say I had one property that used to make me $18,000 a year. So for me to get to the point of selling it, I had to make more than $100,000 when I sold the property. Does that make sense? It made $18,000 a year. So in order for me to sell it, it had to make at least $92,000 a year, or $94,000 a year, from $96,000 for me to decide to sell that property. And I didn't sell it until I got it to the point where it was at $100,000 in profit at closing. When I closed, I would make over $100,000. In fact, by the time we closed, we made over $120,000. This is what I took away from that property, because the thing cash flowed too much. It just made way too much money for me. $18,000 a month on a property I only owed $120,000 on. I was pulling in $36,000 in rents. It was a 4-family. One of my best deals. That's why I talk about it. One of my best deals, and it hurt to let it go because it made so much money every month. But by selling it, it jumped me 5 years into the future. Instantly, 5 years into the future.
Yeah,
ahead,
I'm making. Yeah, that's what I'm struggling with. Is, it cash flows like a beast. It's really great, but there's so much equity in it. Like, there's probably a few $100,000 in equity in it, even though I just burned it and refinanced it. And I'm like, do I sell this thing and just take the $300,000 or whatever it is, or $250,000? It's somewhere in that area. It's a significant chunk.
Why not do a HELOC?
It won't cash flow with a HELOC.
Yeah.
Well, it won't cash flow if you sell it either.
It's true.
For $300,000, he can roll that into a $1.5 million deal.
But he could roll that with the equity on a HELOC.
But now he's got the maintenance on that building. A negative cash flow property does not look good on the balance sheet.
I don't know anybody that would do probably that. I don't know what the HELOC terms are for investment properties. I've always kind of shied away from it. I don't know if they'll go 80% loan to value.
70% on a commercial property.
Yeah.
70 to 65.
I don't know if they would give me that much.
Yeah, they can be a lot harder on a commercial rental property.
Wow, that is some feedback.
Yeah, Ken, great question, and Doug, great feedback. These are things that people who are not investing in the commercial space just don't know. The HELOC, by the way, only works in your personal home. After that, it becomes a lot harder to get access to. The rules are not the same. On your personal home, you can get 90%.
Well, I think that we're just also throwing a dart at the question, like, oh, this is what you could do, but we don't know what the end game is, and so this is also something that we're gonna really want to talk about.
It does help that I know the property
based on what your circumstances are.
Yeah.
And so if your circumstances are you want to actually build a portfolio, then selling it doesn't make sense. But if you're just looking for cash to get into a bigger deal, then it might make more sense. And so understanding what the end goal or what the whole vision of your company is, if it's a company, if it's just your retirement portfolio, then there's going to be a different strategy for that too. And so that's why all of this is really, you can't just go, this is what you should do, especially on a call like this. We can say, these are options, and anybody can take one of those options and do something really well with it. But we want to really understand what that outcome is you're looking for, because if the outcome is cash flow and you're selling a cash flowing property, that doesn't make as much sense. If like Walter was saying, roll it into a bigger deal, then it does. Got to understand the outcome.
And that's where the Alchemist mentorship comes in. He's in the mentorship. He's worked with us. I know his personal portfolio. I know his personal goals. So I'm able to make that decision. Thank you, Dr. Terry. Let's give Dr. Terry Wager a round of applause, and Doug McGurk a round of applause. The feedback, like just knowing that, yeah, there are other people listening. We're live streaming on Facebook right now. This video will go out on YouTube as well. And we're on LinkedIn. So if you're listening to this, real estate investing is very specific advice for you, for the person who has the property, that portfolio. Each goal is different, like Dr. Terry was just saying. Now, for the reason I say don't over leverage a property, because that's what, I know his personal portfolio, he would be over leveraging that property if he took any more against it. It wouldn't cash flow the way it does if there was a loan against it of a $300,000 amount. So you don't want to put your portfolio into negative cash flow, because the market may change tomorrow. You may have a vacancy. It could hurt for a long time. Now, if just having units, this is why we never say units. Someone to Dorina this week. Units is not the goal. Passive income is the goal, right? People, I love it when they come to me and say, oh, I want 50 units, I want 100 units, I want 1,000 units. Why? Like, you just want to measure yourself against somebody else? Doesn't matter. Like, I want the passive income. I want the net worth. That's the whole point. I can make $1 million a year with one unit.
And Walter, being single family and everything?
What is it?
Being single family and everything?
Single family will never cash flow the way multifamily does. So it's a very different business model, unless you're doing assisted livings. So if you do single family assisted livings and occasionally the luxury rentals, single families they're a totally different model. Like, they're really hard to leverage against because they don't cash flow as much to begin with. Drew, you do a lot of single families.
It really depends on where you're buying at. I mean, is what it really comes down to. I mean, you got to be buying off market. There's got to be money there. But I mean, a lot of people are just starting buying property right, so no, it won't cash flow. But I mean, for instance, I got a duplex that we bought for 60 grand. And now, a year and a half later, it's worth $350,000, and we got both units, and it's 900 square feet in total, and both units are renting for $1,400 a month. So but it's you got to find the deals, you got to buy them right. You got to deal directly with the seller. That's the thing about. I mean, a lot of people on this call want to be wholesalers, and great, awesome. But I mean, personally, I rarely buy from a wholesaler, because I look at wholesale deals and they say, this isn't a deal. There's no money at the end of the day once you do the work on it, basically. But when you buy it directly from the seller, there's a lot more opportunity to get the spread. And yes, it can significantly cash flow if you get the right spread.
Because with the multis, right? Our first objective always been, even since the early Bigger Pockets days, it's like 12% cash on cash, 100 a door. This guy's pulling a lot more than 100 in one single family, So and I think the demand is going to be there too, the single family demand, with not people just, wanting to live on top of each other or on the side of each other for.
It's going to be interesting. So that gets into a whole other topic on demographic and market shifts. So there's the baby boom generation is aging, and they will be dying very soon. The average age of the American is 79 years old, and the baby boom generation is aging. They're at 76 and 77. And so as they start passing away, they're going to be letting go of single family homes, and their families, usually death, divorce, probate. These are the opportunities that we buy houses at a discount at. So there's going to be a flood on the market of 48 million properties over the next 5 to 10 years, as they're not holding their properties or getting rid of them, and their children don't want property. The millennials are not buying property, and the Gen X's already have their property, so they don't need the extra. So we're going to see a flood of market on singles. Multifamily will probably be insulated, but that's just something to keep an eye on. That's maybe 2-3 years out before we start seeing that. I'm not very bullish on single family homes for the long term. Although I do still own 22 condos, and I bought those at $35,000 a unit, so they make sense. And we're now selling them at $150,000 a unit. So you got to buy it right, like Drew was just saying. So yeah, Kevin, there's opportunity as long as you buy it right. You can still in the Midwest buy houses for $40,000-$50,000 a unit and rent them out for $700, $800, $900 a door. So there are opportunities in the country. You just got to go to the right market for those opportunities.
Right now,
Well,
I'm literally negotiating nine single families, and some of them are like 1,500 square feet in Arkansas for 45 a door.
Yeah.
Right. Again, this goes back to really understanding the strategy that you're going into what you're doing with. Gwalter focuses on multifamily because he put a strategy together. He's proved out his strategy, and it's worked for him. There's other people that I think Doug knows somebody who's a single family guy all the way, and he won't do anything other than single family, and that's his gig. There's other people that are convinced that it's syndication for me, baby. And so it doesn't matter what it is, it matters that you pick one, really focus on your strategy to build it, and then you're moving forward. It goes back to last week's, put all your eggs in one basket, guard the basket. That's the idea.
Awesome question, Kevin. And absolutely, I would toss that in in Alchemist Nation just as a question, because I know that that's something we would all debate on. We all have different strategies. We're all investing in different asset classes. So that's a fun one. Was this valuable? Great feedback from all the questions, getting them answered. Awesome. Let's give everybody who asked a question a round of applause. I want to bring it back to the coaches. Mitch Jaworski, I know you've got a course coming up. You've got a training coming up on this week, Thursday. What is your feedback on Wealth Principle 5? And make sure you tell us about that course.
Man, that's a hard transition from real estate to crypto. Terry with the perfect sound effect. Or is it not? Because my crypto is very similar to my real estate because it's technically classified as property. So I treat it the same. And I'll be looking forward to taking loans against my crypto so I don't have to pay taxes. Yes, that is a thing. As far as the wealth principle, yeah, build a business, and really got to decide what that business is. And that business can be investing. Now, for it to be investing, you might need startup capital, but not necessarily always. That's the beauty of real estate. Other people's money, leveraging. It's the beauty of loans, partners, private investors. There's plenty of people that have acquired their first property with no money out of their own pocket. Now, I will say that is the one leg up you have with real estate against crypto. I probably can't invest in crypto with no money. So
no, Mitch, you and I and Mike, we all invested in an NFT project that some guy's flipping NFTs for us. We gave him the capital. He's flipping the NFTs.
Okay, so yes, I guess in theory, someone could invest in crypto with other people's money. So I stand corrected. I wasn't looking at it that way. Although, yeah, and you can earn money in crypto without investing money. I mean, because then you got sites like Leo Finance and Hive.blog where you can create content and earn crypto for creating content. So there is always multiple avenues to have success in a business. You just need to decide what that business is going to be and then focus on it and this debate and question came up in an AMA I do with the crypto guys. It's like, how many investments can you focus on at one time? And Walter's like 3. And I was like, I agree with that. And I think he's saying that because 3 businesses is sometimes what we're doing, even though we know better. But I think that's what happens when you develop a business, you systematize that business, and then you're like, all right, I'm also passionate about this other thing. Maybe I can build this business too, right? When you're starting a business, you need to focus on that one business. So just keep that in mind. And that business can be whatever it is you want to be, whether it's real estate investing, crypto investing, whether it's selling a product, whether it's having a hair salon, whether it's opening a brokerage. Just focus on that business. And then as soon as you are getting operational, you need to systematize as much as you can. So make sure you do like the E-Myth book says. You write out every role of that business. And on day one, you are the employee in every single one of those roles. And as the business expands, you slowly hire people on to fill those roles. And then you slowly have less and less jobs. Because if you don't set up that framework, you're going to be doing all the jobs yourself and you'll be a solopreneur forever. I've made that mistake myself with some businesses in the past and maybe even some businesses currently. So just keep that in mind, set up that framework when you decide what the business is. So A, decide, B, set up the framework, and then slowly phase yourself out of a lot of those jobs where you get to the point now where you're just the CEO and not an employee. And that's my take on the whole wealth principle. As far as Walter mentioned, yes, workshop Thursday for those that are interested in crypto and don't want to spend all their time learning it on their own. Just basically get the knowledge from my brain. I've been doing it for 6 years. Everything that I'm going to teach on Thursday, you could find on your own, but you'd spend probably 2 to 3 months scouring YouTube and the internet doing it. So in life, everything comes down to time versus money. So you could either spend the 2 or 3 months figuring it out yourself, or you can spend a few dollars and have me essentially give you that knowledge in a studying for a final cram style in 2 hours, and then be on your way. And then also you can learn from my experiences, more so the mistakes not to make, because in crypto, mistakes cost money. And as we say, and Walter knows, you send money to the crypto gods. As much as we love the crypto gods, we don't always need to bribe them. So learn from my mistakes and my experiences so you don't have to go through those yourself. And you can keep that money in your pocket, and you can save a crap ton of time and not have to search the interwebs to learn all things crypto. I'll drop a link for that. That's Thursday at 7. And look forward to seeing whoever joins me.
So let's give Mitch Chorsky a round of applause. Like I said, crypto investing is important to understand. It's important to know. But if you don't have the $100,000 yet, don't invest in crypto. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't understand it. You should be learning it. You should be getting educated. You may build a business around it. There are a lot of, most of the opportunities that I see on the internet right now are crypto based, are around the crypto arena. So you have to understand how this asset class works in order to operate your business properly. Does that make sense? We will soon be receiving income in crypto and not US dollars. I don't know when, I don't know how long it will be from now, but I do know that is the reality of the future. Doug McGurk, you're up.
Right on, right on. So, yeah, brilliant. Obviously, everyone here. Great job, Walter, as always. So, in the getting back to the original concept about building a business. So, a quick story. My father, growing up, he was a banker. He was high level. He was EVP of a publicly traded bank, making hundreds of thousands a year. And it got purchased by another bank. So what happens when a bank gets purchased by a bigger bank? What do they do with the top brass of the bank they just purchased? Yep, you're out. See ya. So my dad's, 58 or whatever. He's not ready to retire, but he's like can't find a gig because what are other banks doing? He's making $500,000 a year, and they're hiring kids out of college for 80 to do the job that he could be potentially going for. So I gave him Robert Kiyosaki's Loopholes of the Rich book. And he read it, and the next thing you know, he and a couple of his buddies start a mortgage company specifically for prefab homes, because commercial banks don't do prefab homes usually. So it was a niche market, crushes it, and then builds it up and sells the business to Syntex. Then he went out with that money, and him and his friends bought a business from Grumman out on Long Island, where they manufacture microphones for flight helmets. And he bought the warehouse in which the building, which all of this work was done. And I only share this with you to show that it doesn't matter what the business is as well. Like, we're all focused on real estate and all of that. And as you grow your real estate business, you may go, I want to have a side hustle. And maybe that will be purchasing another business. It could be investing in a hair salon. It could be whatever it is. But the point being is that mindset, those are assets. And to be thinking in those terms, like, okay, there's what you're passionate about, and that's awesome. And then there's what you can leverage to be earning more and surrounding yourself with people. Because my dad doesn't care about, he was passionate about real estate because that's what he did at the bank. He has no interest, no care, nothing about this flight helmet thing, and he's still got that business, and it's still doing well for him. So just start, one basket, and start getting new eggs for it. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. It just reminded me when I talked about building business, the power of that. And that was just a personal story of one that was very tied into Robert Kiyosaki's book as well. So that's all I have to say about that.
Let's give Doug McGurk a round of applause. And a reminder, if you are currently in a business that isn't working, isn't cash flowing, isn't getting you to the next level, you're not making the money that you want to make, who here wants to make more? Who here knows that they deserve more, that there's more money to be made?
Absolutely.
If you haven't already signed up for the mentorship program, the Alchemist mentorship program, go to waltermurillo.com/GA or go to alchemistnation.com and click on the mentorship and learn about it. At least watch the video and figure out why it makes sense to join a mentorship program that guarantees that you will become a millionaire in the next 3 to 5 years. And if you know, you can't go wrong with that kind of return on investment. It's less than 2%. It's a fraction of a percent return on investment. Absolutely. Why don't people do it? It's because they don't believe in themselves. It's not that they don't believe that millionaires can teach them how to become millionaires. It's because they don't believe in themselves, or they're afraid of making money. They're afraid that if they make money, that people will judge them, or that their friends won't want to hang out with them, or that they might become an evil human being. Who's heard or who knows people believe these things? Who knows that there's people out there who are afraid to give $2,000 to learn how to make $1 million? It's true. And then here's what the crazy part. They're going to go and they're going to Google and they're going to YouTube and they're going to read all the books. Ask me how I know. I did all that too. And they're going to discover that they still have to go and find somebody who's been successful and ask them how to be successful. And they're going to need somebody to hold them by the hand in order to get there. Now, I spent over $130,000 to get my education. I know Dr. Terry spent over $300,000. I know Doug is well over the same money that me and Terry have spent. And many of the other coaches have done the same because it works. That's how we got to where we are, is because we paid and we paid attention. And Scam, if you know you pay attention. If you don't pay, well, it's for free. Maybe I won't show up. Maybe I won't do the homework. Maybe I won't do the thing. This is how you get to the next level. If you have more than $1,000, then you should invest the $2,000 to join the mentorship. If you have less than $1,000, you have some serious problems in your life, and it's time to wake up. Hence, can't forget that. We understand there's a problem because there is so much money in the world. There's so much. And if you're having that challenge and you don't have the money, don't know how to get the money, drop the question in Alchemist Nation. Me or one of the coaches, probably all of us, will respond on ways to get that first couple $100s, couple $1,000 to be able to invest in yourself. I had to make the rant. I had to say it. Go to alchemistnation.com, click on the mentorship button. If you got friends, hands came if you got friends who could use the mentorship. If you got friends, you got family who could use the mentorship, who use a guide to get them through. You got people who could use some extra money in their life, then go tell them. Just at least you'll know that you said, hey, by the way, this is good for you. At least you'll know that you left the rope behind. At least you gave them an opportunity. At least you gave them a chance. Because if you don't, you're always going to know that you could have been the one. You could have been the person who gave them the opportunity. You could have had that conversation with them. For me, I know everybody in my life, I have said, hey, by the way, come to the mentorship. I'll take care of you. We'll walk you through the process. I got my millionaires in there. My millionaires. I rock and work you to the point where you're a millionaire. Hands can, if you know we're committed to the cause, 100 millionaires, inspired to build 100 millionaires. Hell yeah. Awesome. Dorina Pagodina, the Russian princess. You got a talk coming up. Share some knowledge. Wealth Principle 5.
Well, hello everyone. So this week I had a mantra. I was reading the book, The One Thing, again and again and again. And I think the mantra ties into the wealth principle really well. Is success is doing the right thing, not doing everything right. So focus on the business, choose a business, the right business, the one which adds value, right? Like Walter said, the universe removes that which does not add value. So once you choose the business, commit to it and do the right thing, not everything right. So that's my biggest takeaway from everything that has been said. And I do have a free workshop coming up on Monday, 6:00. It's on Alchemist Nation. It's about doing the right networking activities and doing the right follow-up. And that is the key to growing your business, to retaining your members, your clients, your success. So come join us. That's going to be for about an hour and a half. So it's the best time you can invest on Monday night.
Free to those who are in the mastery program. For everybody who is not in the mastery program, you will have to pay something. Hands to the camera if that makes sense. The people in mastery paid a lot of money to get access to these programs. There are 35 of you, and you are all welcome to come to this call for free. For everybody who has not joined Mastery, send Dorena a message on Alchemist Nation and ask her how you can get into this course. And we'll do something special for you. We'll give you a good opportunity, because we do believe that everybody deserves a chance, but we do know that if you don't pay, you don't pay attention. And it's not about the money, I assure you. A couple $100 is not going to make or break my day, but it will make a difference on whether you show up or not. Hands can if you know that's true. That's the only reason to ever charge somebody. You want them to show up. You want them to do something. Awesome. Let's give Dorena a round of applause. I'm very excited for this talk. I've been seeing her practice. I have an idea of what she's going to be doing. And because I know the value of follow-up, by the way, all the money is in the follow-up. I used to say 80% of the money is in the follow-up. I did not realize how much money I was leaving behind until Dorena joined the company and she started moving us in the world of follow-up. I would say 99% of the money is in the follow-up. It's in the deep relationships. I used to be happy with small dollar amounts at high volume until I realized I could have high dollar amounts at high volume. Hands to the camera if you'd like to have high dollar amounts at high volume. Follow-up, relationships, and creating networking events, opportunities to pull your ideal client together is the key to doing that. And Dorena's going to talk about how to do that. So very powerful training for everybody in Mastery. And for everybody who's not in Mastery, well, you should be. And if you're not, there is a, Dorena will work out a deal for you guys so that you can get into the opportunity. Hands camera if that's cool, that Dorena's sweet like that. Yeah, she's badass. She's awesome. Excellent. Dr. Terry Wager, Wealth Principle 5.
Wealth Principle 5. We're talking about building a business. There's this guy named Dave who really enjoyed this other guy named Bill, and they decided they wanted to make a business. And so they decided to partner together and they made a business. Their first conversations were all about, what the hell are we going to sell? What are we going to do? What are we going to produce? What is this business going to be? It's David Packard and Bill Hewlett. Hewlett Packard. They didn't have products, but they had a relationship. And so when you're thinking about a business, think about relationships. Think about how you want to be in the marketplace. Think about what you want to do. But more than anything, think about how you're going to get there, because it's the people that you work with that are really going to help you build the business. Whether you're paying them, we pay a lot of people to help us build our business, whether they're employees or they're partners or they're vendors, it doesn't matter what's going on. You're going to have to pay somebody. You're going to have a relationship with them, and money's going to exchange. And one of the things that I've noticed most since I started working with businesses is that people are really slow to put money into themselves, and they're slow to put money into their business. Every big business,
until they realize that keeps the business slow.
Right, exactly. And Hewlett Packard and some of these other big businesses, they all have advisory boards or board of directors to help them understand the direction and the vision of the company. And the ones that have a vision and have an ideology behind them grow much stronger than people that are just doing it for money, or people that are just doing it because this is something I thought I'd do, or because it's a hobby. And there's a lot of people with real estate as a hobby because it hasn't become a business, because they don't understand the simple idea of creating a cash flowing business where you have the profit loss kind of thing coming in. You got to pay attention to all of these different things when you're looking at, am I building a business or am I in a hobby? The biggest piece that I think when you're looking at building a business is you have to invest in yourself, you have to invest in your future, and you have to invest with all of the people around you to help you grow. That's what I got.
Give Dr. Terry Wager a round of applause. Awesome. A little longer than usual. I'm still working on the format. I want to see how we can tighten this up so we can all get out of here within an hour. Who liked going with the questions first? Who thought that that was a really good model? Excellent. I noticed we were able to get through more questions. Excellent. Michael Shine, you're up.
Thanks, Walter. So what I really like about your talk today is when you spoke about this as being your baby. Because yeah, I have real estate and I have crypto and I have stocks, but I've set them all up so that they're pretty much on autopilot, and they run themselves. But what my baby is my closing business, and I focus on that every day, and I take care of it, and I think about it all the time, and that's really been the key for me. It generates the income that then allows you to get to that point where you're over $100,000, that you can put it into other opportunities. And then the way I set those opportunities up is so that I don't have to be working on them day after day in those businesses. I really liked what Mitch said, about the E-Myth, and it's so true with my business. My business, even at this point, is still growing, and I tend to it every day so that it'll grow and grow and grow. So focus on your business, and then the money comes, and then you can invest in all these wonderful opportunities that I've had the honor of being in. That's what I got. Thank you.
Let's give Michael Shine a round of applause. Michael Shine is another one of our millionaires, a multi-millionaire. And like he just said, he's invested in his business. Even now, like we talk with Mike, and sometimes he's not necessarily in love with his business. Who here is not in love with their children all the time, or their spouse? Have moments where it's like, okay, like maybe. But every time we talk, at the end of the conversation, he's fallen back in love with his business. He's thinking about how he can improve the relationship he has with his business. He's thinking about how he can bring more cash flow in, and he does well. Now he's expanding his business. He's taking over multiple states. He's expanding all across the East Coast and his law practice, because he loves working with the clients. He loves working with the real estate investors. In fact, hands to camera if you've closed a deal with Mike Shine's office before. I've closed a lot of deals with Mike's office. They close a lot of our deals. It's a phenomenal experience. And if you're lucky, I know it's Mike's skills. He won't be able to do this too often, but sometimes you get sushi. Sometimes there's a lunch involved. There's a meal involved. Maybe we can scale out where his attorneys will take you out to sushi, but that's part of, the relationship with your partners, with your business partners, people who are doing deals with you. It's like, you get to have fun while you're making money. Hands to camera if you know you're going to have fun making money this year. Hell yeah. Awesome. I'll see you on Alchemist Nation. If you have any questions, drop them in the posts online so that it serves other people. Your questions also create content, and I love content. So thank each one of you. Cheers to your success, your choice. Always work with the best.
With the best.
See you next week.
The best.
Hell
Bye,
yeah.
everyone.
Bye, guys. Bye, Melissa. Good seeing you, Brian. 10X.
Bye, guys.
See you
Have a
guys
great
next week.
weekend.
Cheers.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Walter, you jumping in?